ledger, turn four as a monster, jaws wide like a gator. Hit stop, quick cruise, move sharp as a razor. Adrenaline pumps, veins fuel injected. Outlaws on the track, chaos perfected. Full throttle kings, we don't slow down. Ripping through the night, owning this town. Cast to the floor, the crowd gets loud. Outlaws racing, we're born unbound. Smoke trails curl, exhaust whisper secrets. Victory's a beast, only the brave can keep it. Paint jobs flash, sponsors on the side. Egos collide, stealing pride. Oval dreams where legends ignite. Green flag drops, sparks kiss the night. This ain't a hobby, this a gladiator's grind. Racing's the religion, speed's the shrine. Bump draft, slingshot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Bump draft, slingshot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Smoke trails curl, exhaust whisper secrets. Victory's a beast, only the brave can keep it. Paint jobs flash, sponsors on the side. Egos collide, stealing pride. Oval dreams where legends ignite. Green flag drops, sparks kiss the night. This ain't a hobby, this a gladiator's grind. Racing's the religion, speed's the shrine. Bump draft, slingshot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Bump draft, slingshot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Engines scream, asphalt burns, the grip's a gamble. Tires squeal, hearts race, this leads to scandal. Full throttle, no brakes, chasing that checkered. Drafted lines tighter than a bank teller's ledger. Turn four as a monster, jaws wide like a gator. Hit stop, quick cruise, move sharp as a razor. Adrenaline pumps, veins fuel injected. Outlaws on the track, chaos perfected. Full throttle kings, we don't slow down. Ripping through the night, owning this town. Cast to the floor, the crowd gets loud. Outlaws racing, we're born unbound. Smoke trails curl, exhaust whisper secrets. Victory's a beast, only the brave can keep it. Paint jobs flash, sponsors on the side. Egos collide, stealing pride. Oval dreams where legends ignite. Green flag drops, sparks kiss the night. This ain't a hobby, this a gladiator's grind. Racing's the religion, speed's the shrine. Bump draft, slingshot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Bump draft, slingshot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Smoke trails curl, exhaust whisper secrets. Victory's a beast, only the brave can keep it. Paint jobs flash, sponsors on the side. Egos collide, stealing pride. Oval dreams where legends ignite. Green flag drops, sparks kiss the night. This ain't a hobby, this a gladiator's grind. Racing's the religion, speed's the shrine. Bump draft, slingshot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Bump draft, slingshot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights.
Woo! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll here this evening as the Full Throttle Outlaws are ready to go to battle. They're ready to duke it out here this evening in the QH Design 188 from Charlotte Motor Speedway for what is, I do believe, our penultimate race of the season, our second to last race here on the year. This is our third and final race of the round of 10 until our championship race. So for a lot of these drivers, man, you want to make it into that championship. You want to give yourself a shot at potentially trying to work yourself into a championship. It's going to come down to tonight. You got to play it good. You got to play it safe. And you got to make sure that you're there at the end to hopefully try to take advantage and maybe work yourself into one of the final playoff positions out there on the Speedway. See if we can get a quick look here at those playoff standings before drivers get rolling out there onto the racetrack, as we'll take a quick look right now. Drivers that are in the red, you're on the outside looking in. If you're the driver in green, that is David Traylor Jr. He has won a race in this final, elimination, and for David Traylor, he's already locked in. He's locked in. He is into the show. He does not have to worry. He will be battling for our championship next Friday night. But for Jackson Connell, Tristan Kyle, Philip Tuscano, and Roberto Ramirez, you're feeling pretty good. I mean, that's 4 teammates all right there together, all currently inside of making it into that championship race. But if you are Clinton Woodby, Joe Yakes, Colton Hardy, Evan Schilling, Keith Prince, this is your last chance dance right here. Either you need to have a really good night, or that a few of the drivers that are above that cut line have a bad night where you can get enough points to leapfrog them and put yourself into their playoff position after tonight to keep your championship dreams alive, to go for that championship. And it's going to be really interesting to see, obviously, if one of those drivers that are below that cut line, that are in the red, if they win here tonight, they win their way in to the next round. But man, this is going to be intense all evening long to see who can kind of break through and who can put themselves into a position to potentially battle next Friday night for our championship, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go. It's a foggy one here in Charlotte this afternoon. A little bit of cold air and warm air kind of mixture here, and obviously it's created a lot of fog and some low-hanging clouds. And now we're going to see some, some difficult conditions for these drivers, not only on the racetrack for, tires, but also just visibility may get that much tougher as well. Matt Hayden, Tristan Kyle will lead us down to the green flag. David Traylor Jr. and Colton Hardy bring up row number 2. Christian Strader, Clinton Woodby, Jesse Calloway, Philip Tuscano, Joe Yakes, Evan Schilling, Jackson Connell, Keith Prince, Rusty Modesty, Kevin Winker, and Jesse Wise bring up the rear of the field out there on the racetrack. So a lot of these drivers, going to come down to, making sure you don't make a mistake, making sure you're there at the end, and trying to keep your playoff dreams alive here this season. Is down at the back straightaway. The 23 ride of Tristan Kyle will jump out in front, as tonight is also, our QH Designs best appearing car race as well. So there is $25 on the line for the driver with the best paint scheme here this afternoon. Look out, contact back here. Joe Yakes is in it. The 39 right of Connell's in it. Oh, Keith Prince, heavy hit there for Prince, and I do believe that is the 92 of Clinton Woodby, also fairly tore up. And early on, a couple drivers with some major damage, and already a couple down pit road. That is the 3 machine of Keith Prince. Man, Prince's car is absolutely destroyed. Same with that 87 of Joe Yakes. But man, Jackson Connell's going to have quite a bit of contact. Same with Clinton Woodby. Let's take a look back and see what happens. They just seem to be a little 3 wide here. Looks like they're 3 wide off of corner number 4. So right here, you're going to see the 39 jump down to the inside below that 87, right below the 92. And it looks like Joe Yankster is going to come up the racetrack. Looks like he's going to get a piece of Clinton Woodby. And as he bounces off the 92, he comes back down the racetrack, ends up right rearing that 39 ride. And then himself bounces back up into the 92 of Clinton Woodby. You take a look at Woodby, hard contact up into the outside fence. Pretty solid damage again from that 87 ride. And then, obviously, the 39 after that contact just going to go around here on the inside. So there goes the 39. They make a little contact there as well. They're going to come together again. But the big hit is going to be right here for Keith Prince and Joe Yanks, man. These were absolute massive hits, and this may take them out of the race this afternoon. Prince just could not get checked up in time. See the flames coming out there. He's trying to get woed up, just can't woe up quick enough, and man, big hits right there. Look at that 87. My gosh, he's got to be 10, 15 feet in the air. Let's see if we can get another look at it here. See if we can get another angle right here. This is going to be a great angle. Bam, there's the hit. There's the contact. Look at the rear end just come right up on the 3 right, and the 87 of Joe Yanks goes airborne here at Charlotte. Oh, man, big hits. Big hits for a couple of these guys. A couple of our drivers that were tied up in that with Clinton Woodby and Jackson Connell. I think Connell, for the most part, didn't really end up with a crazy amount of damage here. Now, he does get, a good amount, obviously, off the contact right here, but not a ton. Not as bad as Prince or Joe Yanks, but he's going to get slight damage here. Not a ton. And then, obviously, as he starts to go around, he's going to end up tail tagging the 87 ride just a little bit right here. That's going to give him a little bit of rear end damage. Going to go around again. I think he actually misses. Yeah, the 87 doesn't get back into him right here, but he's going to wash down the racetrack. You see the 3 ride flying just in front of him. The 87 virtually flies right over top of him. My gosh, this is looks like a movie right here. Watch the 87 ride. 39, luckily enough, goes right underneath of him here. Doesn't end up making contact there with that 87 ride and gets a little bit more rear end damage there as he backs it down into the inside fence. But for him and Clinton Woodby, man, some pretty sizable damage here, and that's going to be really tough for them to have to battle and continue to get fixed up and try to work themselves back into the show. We do see the 39 still parked down pit side. We're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Clinton Woodby is lined back up, but it looks like we are going to get one more lap here, so good break for Connell, as at least he'll stay on the lead lap. He's able to get out in front of our official iRacing pace car and stays on the lead lap here this evening, as Mark Jackie Miller says, well, that sucked for the number 3. Yeah, definitely sucked right there for Keith Prince and any of the Prince fans in the stands here this evening. Obviously, when your driver ends up parked down pit side, missing virtually the entire front half of the race car, never a good time, never a fun time, and I think it's going to be either an early night or a long night sitting down pit road here for Joe Yanks and Keith Prince. We'll see if they can get back out onto the racetrack or if their nights are going to be done here this evening, which is going to suck. We start with 15 drivers. We're already down to 13. It does look like the 87 ride has been repaired, so as in the 3 ride, so they're both going to get repaired. They're both going to roll back out here. This is exactly what we want to see. So we will get these two at least rolling again. They'll stay in the hunt here this evening, but obviously now going to be a few laps down as we get ready to go back to green flag racing. We'll have to wait and see if Yanks can get back out there. Here he comes. He's able to exit pit road, so doesn't Keith Prince. So they stay in it for the most part, but unfortunately for both drivers, I do believe they're going to be scored at least 2 laps down out there on the racetrack, and they could fall 3 laps down here as our race leaders do get the green flag. They're quickly back on the lap pedal, and here they are looking to try to just pull away. And the first drivers that more than likely will lose another lap will be that 3 of Keith Prince and the 87 of Joe Yanks. Now, Yanks is quite a bit farther back than that number 3 ride, but still, they're going to have to battle for that lucky dog. Hope to see a couple more caution flags here and get themselves somewhat back into the battle as the Sheets 23 of Tristan Kyle out in front. Tristan's looked really good here to start this feature event. He's showing a lot of speed on that outside groove and being able to work his way around our pole sitter Matt Hayden. Now out in front again with a good restart. Just laid down the quickest lap of this race and looking to try to pull away, except for that quick lap just got defeated as Keith Prince just laid down the quickest lap. A 30.52. Woo! Blazing fast lap time there for Keith Prince. He was absolutely zooming out there And we'll see if he can continue that, as obviously he's got a little bit newer tire. And the rest of these drivers that have been kind of rolling out here for a few laps under the caution may have affected their rides, but we'll see if anyone else can start laying down quicker lap times. And here we go. They start filing in as the 54. David Traylor Jr., the only driver that has ran a 13.0 out there on the racetrack. Well, actually, Jackson Connell ran a 13.01, but David Traylor Jr. now with the quickest lap of this race. And Keith Prince did not hold it for long, but for Tristan Kyle, he's out in front. He knows that 54 ride may be coming in a quick hurry. He's definitely a threat whenever we come to any of these racetracks. So you can't take him lightly. You got to be on your A game. Make sure you keep drivers like Trailer, Hayden, Strader back there at bay, or any of his teammates, even Colton Hardy back here in that 5th position, as you do see Philip Tuscano trying to work his way up and in to position number 6. Actually, position number 5 out on the racetrack. He's in 6th. He wants 5th. Jesse Calloway's right there behind him. And then we do see Jackson Connell back there in 8th. Evan Schilling in 9th. Rusty Modesty rounding out our top 10 here this evening with K-Dub, Kevin Winker back at 11th. Clinton Woodby's there in 12th with Jesse Wise rounding out our top 13, all still on the lead lap. And then Prince and Yakes bringing up the rear of the field now 2 laps down. But out in front, it is this number 23 of Tristan Kyle. And out for these drivers, you got to keep in the back of your mind, there's still a stage here this evening. There's still a stage. There's still a possibility to earn some extra bonus points. That could be make or break on punching your ticket into the A-main feed, or into our championship race next week. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, because we will get a stage break at lap number 30. So lap 30, we will see a stage break for these drivers. They got 75% fuel, 125 laps of racing action. How do they play it out? How do they break this race up into a way that kind of works into their favor when it comes to that fuel strategy game? I feel everyone's going to be probably making 3 pit stops, but we could see some drivers maybe trying to stretch the fuel if they can make it a little bit farther. Will we see a driver like, maybe, Clinton Woodby or Rusty Modesty, maybe K-Dub, Kevin Winker? We know Winker's always trying those fuel strategy game plans. Do we see them trying to make it on 2 pit stops here, hoping that it stays clean and green throughout that final stage of the day, and hoping that potentially over that 95 lap run that, they only have to make 1 green flag pit stop? If that's the case, then it may work out perfectly into their favor and keep them with some good fresh tires back down behind pit wall. But I feel tires are going to be, a fairly good commodity here this evening. I think a lot of these drivers are going to want those fresh tires. The tire fall off will be, pretty decent here, where it could make a huge difference, but I'm not sure if it's going to be a big enough difference. You may want to, pit 3 times in that final run, and it's going to be fun to see, that's for certain. Right now, drivers have fallen off the pace by about half a second or so, half a second that they've kind of lost already. I'm not sure if that's just them toning it down and trying to save a little tire, or if potentially that's just the tire wear already starting to take shape here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So I think, man, if that is tire wear already, next time around, they lose, for the most of them, another 10th out there on the racetrack, a 10th, 2/10 of speed. So I think the tires are just falling off on an extreme amount here, lap after lap after lap. So I think tires are going to be the main thing for a lot of these drivers to come down pit road. I don't think that fuel strategy game plan, if the tire wear is this extreme, I don't think it's going to work. I think we're going to see these guys down pit road probably 3 times. I think every 30 laps or so, I think we'll see these guys down pit side and making pit stops here. Maybe running 35 laps throughout the, the final stage. Maybe going a little bit farther, pushing it to 40, but I don't think much farther than that. But we will have some drivers who will try to short pit, some drivers who will try to run those older tires out a little bit farther, hope that they can kind of swing it the other way and have the best tires later in the run. So we'll see kind of who has the good game plan and who's got the ability and the race car to put themselves up and into victory lane here at the home of NASCAR, Charlotte Motor Speedway, as Tristan Kyle continues to lead the way. David Traylor sits right there in second with Matt Hayden back in third. We do see Philip Tuscano has worked his way now into position number 4. Colton Hardy has worked his way back up inside the top 5 as Christian Strader loses a couple spots and falls back now into 6, and he may lose that 6th position as the 4 ride of Jesse Calloway working to his outside. Calloway looking to work himself around that 29 machine and put himself up and into that 6th position. They'll continue to battle door to door as the 18 Evan Schilling right there in tow. Clinton Woodby's there in 9th with Rusty Modesty. Jackson Connell back in 11th. Kevin Wenker back there in position number 12 with Jesse Wise scored in 13th. Beautiful looking ride here this afternoon. Take a look here at some of these race cars. A lot of these things are looking pretty. Is that Garth Brooks? You got Garth Brooks on the hood of this thing? All right, all right. We'll put a boot in your butt. Okay, I like it. I like it. I see it. I see the car. I see the theory on it. Let's see if we can get another look at it here. Toby Keith, I heart this bar and grill. Bar and grill. Or is that Toby Keith? I thought it was. Oh, yeah, it is Toby Keith. It's just the older Toby Keith. Obviously, rest in peace to Toby, but I just remember Toby Keith as like being young and listening to him and watching YouTube videos and how he used to be a lot skinnier man, but he definitely put on a little bit of weight there before he unfortunately passed away a couple years ago now. Heck, it's been at least 2, maybe 3 years since Toby Keith passed away, but man, love it. Absolutely love it on there. Love that car. That's a beautiful, beautiful paint scheme right there. Let's see if we can get some more. See if some of these other paint schemes for some of these drivers. Obviously, we got Jackson Connell. Let's take a look at his ride. All right, all right. It's nice. I like the USO machine. Looking good out there on the racetrack. We'll see if we can get another look here at some of these other ones. The 6th ride of Modesty. Let's take a look. Schrader's in his Reese's Pieces ride. Got the beautiful winning bid at NASCAR diecast sales and card breaks number 92 of Clinton Woodby. And then Schilling's in his Mobile 1 ride. Callaway's in this beautiful number 4 machine here this afternoon. But take a look at the QH Designs ride of Colton Hardy here. Colton sporting a pretty decent paint scheme here as well. Loving the green on the winning bid race car on the hood there, but also taking a look around and seeing some of the other things here. Obviously, this car has definitely gotten a little bit crazier. We can get a look at it because it goes from the U.S. Army kind of style of a paint scheme into like the more of the American flag paint scheme there as well. It's pretty little cool conversion ride out there on the Speedway, man. I do like that. That is a pretty cool looking ride. That is pretty neat. That is pretty neat for certain. Pretty nice. Philip Tuscano, he's in the beautiful number 20 with Matt Hayden and his Razor number 5. David Traylor in the blue in red, white, and blue M&M's paint scheme here this afternoon. Beautiful looking ride. And then obviously we got that USAA number 23, the Sheets machine here of Tristan Kyle, who continues to lead the way. Kyle's out in front. He's got the top spot, looking good as well. A lot of these beautiful paint schemes out here, the patriotic paint schemes from all these drivers, looking absolutely fresh as heck here this evening. But for Tristan, he continues to show him how to get it done here in this one. For everyone else, they are chasing him and hoping that they can try to find a way to get around Mr. Kyle here this evening. Right now, he's led all 24 laps, but now we start to see a lot more of that tire fall off. Drivers have lost about 1.5 seconds here, almost 2 seconds of tire fall off over the first 24 laps of racing action, and that's just going to continue to get worse for all of them. But they know that the stage is about to come to a close. close, and for a driver like Tristan Kyle, getting some of these stage points are going to be massive. They're going to be huge here for Tristan Kyle. He came in 23 points above that cut line. He obviously wants to keep that gap and continue to grow it here with the stage win, give him a little bit more breathing room to potentially lock his way into that championship race. I think for Jackson Connell, he was already in a good position, 45 points above that cut line. I don't see Connell, even if he comes dead last, missing out. I think him and probably Tristan Kyle are probably going to be pretty safe. Philip Tuscano sitting in, fourth in the point standings. Came in 16 points above the cut line. He's probably good, unless if he does have a really bad run, but he does have himself in line here for maybe some stage points. He sits in that fourth position, so maybe some stage points into his back pocket, bring him a little farther away from that cut line, especially with the driver that's at the cut line. Clinton Woodby back behind him here. With Woodby back in fifth, and that's going to give him a little bit more breathing room. But for Roberto Ramirez, oh man, I didn't even realize that as we got loaded into the sim. Roberto Ramirez is not here this afternoon. So with Roberto not showing up and not having his race car right there on the racetrack for the number 43 ride, I do believe he is going to miss out here on the playoffs. I think, unfortunately, he misses out. He will, unfortunately, not transfer into our Championship 5 for next Friday night. And that really opens up the door now for Clinton Woodby. It would have been a really good open door for Joe Yanks. Woodby and Yanks came in tied in points. They were 8 points back of Ramirez. They would be virtually tied and battling here for maybe that final playoff position this afternoon, but unfortunately that early contact, that early hit that the 87 ride took, who's now 2 laps down and not in line for the lucky dog either, is in a very, very difficult position because he sits down pit road and goes 2 laps down, and now behind Keith Prince. 87 ride came in with a golden opportunity here, especially with Ramirez not showing up, that he could have potentially worked his way into the show and into that Championship 8, but I think it's going to be kind of taken away from him now. That is going to be a heartbreaker there for him as well, unless if he can battle back. If Clinton Woodby loses a bunch of points here throughout the final run, then maybe there's still a chance. You can't count him out until the checkered flag flies, but we will see the green and white checkered flag fly as stage number 1 will come to a close. Stage number 1 is over. Tristan Kyle will win the stage with Matt Hayden coming second there in the stage. David Traylor will come home in third with Philip Tuscano back in fourth. Clinton Woodby will be our top 5 here in stage number 1 with Evan Schilling, Jesse Calloway, Rusty Modesty, Christian Schrader, and Colton Hardy rounding out our top 10 there in the stage. Kevin Winker will come home in 11th with Jackson Connell, Jesse Wise rounding out our top 13 for Keith Prince. He's the first driver a lap down out there on the racetrack. Now he is 2 laps down, but this will give him a waiver round. This will give him a lucky dog back to 1 lap down here, which is massive because one more issue, one more caution flag, one more problem out there on the racetrack for that number 3 machine of Keith Prince may be able to work his way back onto the lead lap here this evening, and that's a great break for another one of our playoff drivers. Prince came in virtually a must-win situation to battle for the championship next week. He needs to find victory lane here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. I don't see a way he can point his way up there far enough to potentially work himself around Woodby or Yakes or Hardy. All these guys would have to run into problems, and if they all did, I still don't think it'd be enough. So Prince has to win here this evening, and now being only 1 lap down at least draws him a little closer to potentially getting back into the battle here this evening. But for Tristan Kyle, Jackson Connell, David Traylor Jr., I feel all 3 of those drivers are probably locked in and good to go. For Philip Tuscano, he probably should be good on points. I don't think anyone back behind him. He's got 16 points above Woodby, Yanks, even more above Colton Harding and Evan Schilling and Mr. Prince as well, that I think he should be A-okay. I especially getting some stage points there as well, potentially Bill Tuscano locked in to our championship as well next Friday night. So now the battle is really on between would-be Colton Hardy, Evan Schilling, some of these other drivers to try to make rebounds and try to work themselves maybe into victory lane to steal that final transfer spot in the final spot into our championship 5. As we did see everyone come down pit road, everyone pitted here to end off stage number 1, our only stage break of the evening. So for Tristan Kyle, Matt Hayden, David Traylor Jr., Phil Tuscano, Clinton Woodby, our top 5 all stays the same. Most of our top 10 stays the same as well. As there's Modesty and Jesse Calloway. Evan Schilling's there in 8th. Christian Strader's back in 9th. Hardy rounding out the top 10, getting ready here for our second restart of the day. Jesse Wise up into 11th. Connell was down pit side a little longer there, obviously trying to get some extra repairs done to that race car, and now here he is back there in 12th, and Winker rounds out our top 13 of lead lap drivers. Prince coming down pit road. He's going to get some service. He's going to get some work done. He's going to get ready to roll back out there, and I think for Joe Yanks, he's going to take a gamble here. He is going to stay out. So Joe Yanks stays out, not going to come down pit road, so he's going to get the wave around. This will put him 1 lap down. Now the thing is he's going to have 30 lap old tires on his race car. He's going to be way off the pace compared to the leaders, and he may have to make a fairly early pit stop here this evening as well. So what he's banking on is that potentially he gets this wave around, caution flag comes out quickly enough that he can get down pit road, get that pit stop in, get fuel, but really leapfrog himself to being only 1 lap down out there on the racetrack. And I think that's a great move there by the 87, especially if we see that caution flag fly. If the yellow flag does not come out and he's got to make a green flag pit stop here shortly after the stage, it opens up the door for the 87 to lose maybe not only just another lap, but maybe 2 laps or 3 laps coming down pit road during the green flag conditions here this evening. So we'll see how this plays out for that 87 as we get them all stacked up, racked up, and ready to go back to green flag racing here this evening as the Full Throttle Outlaws, the QH Designs 188. Man, it's already been a pretty crazy one, but it's going to continue to get crazier and crazier as Trey Schwill, hopefully I'm getting that right. Trey coming in, hitting that subscribe button. Trey, welcome to the Peacemaker family. Coming in, smashing that gosh heckin' sub button, brother. I appreciate that. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that like button on the stream for us right now, as here we go back to green flag racing here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So the green flag quickly comes back out for the 23 of Tristan Kyle. Great launch, great jump. For the 23, hoping that again he could kind of pull away a little bit, open up a little bit of a gap here, and give himself some breathing room between him and Matt Hayden. And now for a lot of these drivers, once again, you got those quick, fresh tires. You're looking really good. You're looking really strong, and the car is feeling pretty much amazing right now. But this is the big area that these drivers are going to have to be careful with. Yes, you want to gain some positions. Yes, you want to take advantage of these fresh tires. But at the same point in time, you know that this is probably going to be a long run. You're not going to want to burn up these tires. So you may want to just kind of take it easy and not put yourself into a bad situation. And now we take a look at the 23, Tristan Kyle. What has gone wrong with the 23 ride? Oh no, heartbreak. Tristan Kyle now down pit side. What in the world may have happened? I didn't see a black flag get thrown for him. This is just an unscheduled pit stop here for Tristan Kyle. Potentially a flat tire or something amiss under the hood. But for our race leader now making a green flag pit stop, this is a heartbreaker for Tristan this afternoon. And we do see him come down to his pit stall. And it looks like he's going to tow it down pit side. He doesn't even get into his pit stall. Has to tow it down pit road. Oh, no. This is a heartbreaker for the 23 machine. And he's down pit side. He's now lost a lap for Matt Hayden. He reconsumes the race lead. So Matt Hayden out in front. All right, where our pole sitter hoped to be here this evening, but now leading the charge, he's got Philip Tuscano back there behind him. Christian Schrader jumps up into third here. He's been on the throttle. He's been rolling through the traffic and now into that third position. Very interesting early moves here, and we do see Rusty Modesty, Jackson Connell's gained a ton of spots here, and he's now inside the top 5 for the first time here this evening. Clinton Woodby has fallen back into 6th with Jesse Calloway back in 7th. Evan Schilling, David Traylor Jr. also falling back here quite a bit as well. Colton Hardy, Jesse Wise, Kevin Winker a little farther back as well into that 12th position. Keith Prince now jumps into position number 13. Joe Yanks there in 14th, and unfortunately for the 23 rider, Tristan Kyle looks like he's taking that car off the racetrack and out of this race. He's back down behind pit wall, so something mechanical, something major had went wrong for the 23 of Tristan Kyle, and unfortunately after leading the first 36 laps of this race, now out of it, ladies and gentlemen. That is a huge mishap, but I think for Tristan Kyle, good news is that he did earn some good stage points there in that stage. Obviously, winning the stage should have came in with the big enough points lead with those stage points as well in his back pocket. I feel like he is good to go. I feel like he has probably pointed his way in here this afternoon into our championship. Now, that may change. That may not be the case. But coming home 15th, if we could see maybe another driver like Clinton Woodby gaining a ton of points here, maybe he could gain enough to catch up, but I just don't see it. I don't think that he can fall that far back, but man, that's a risky move. I mean, if it's a point or two, I mean, you'd be pretty nervous if it was that tight, and probably not wanting to just give up on the race. So we'll have to wait and see. He can get back out here if it was something else, or if he can hang on for one of our championship positions this afternoon as Matt Hayden rolls out in front as this race. Lead Philip Tuscano is rolling there in second with Schrader back in third. Jackson Connell and Rusty Modesty round out our top 5, but you look back, you're at a driver like David Traylor Jr. Got to imagine that for this 54 ride, he's just thinking about tires here. The last few times around, he's been running in already to that 31-second bracket here. I think he's been saving a ton of tire early on as quickly as possible here since that restart. He's just been off the pace, saving tires, and that's going to help him in the long run. In the short run, our race leaders are pulling farther and farther away from him, but already, they've already fallen off, half a second, 3/10, 4/10 of a second here. And for David Traylor Jr., he's still running that 1 second lap time twice in a row. So obviously there's a game plan. He wants these tires in front of him to fall off and him just to pick up all that ground and move right on around them. And you can also see if we can hear a little bit better. Let's jump on board with that 54 ride, because it seemed like he was maybe saving fuel here as well. Listen to the clutch as he gets into the corner. Right there. Already clutching it. Already throwing that thing basically into neutral, letting it coast through that entry to middle portion of the corner before getting back onto the throttle here. When we look at our race leaders, when we look at a driver like Matt Hayden or any of these other guys, see if they're doing the same thing. I don't think they're going to be. I think this is going to be almost pretty much full throttle, maybe a little bit of brake on corner entry. But you do not see them putting that clutch in. Already trying to save fuel or trying to save tire or anything else. That does not seem to be the case for our front runners. So this is going to play out completely differently this second stage, man. It seemed like everyone was on the throttle. Everyone was running pretty solidly there in that first stage. But now that first stage is come and gone, and we got the risk of potentially running the next, 80 laps? Green flag battling out here, no caution flags. That is going to bring into the big picture, if we run these long runs, do you make it a, one green flag pit stop? Do you have to make 2 green flag pit stops? I think for some of them, they may be trying to figure that out right now and trying to push their limits with how much they can save, how much the numbers look like, and how far they can kind of stretch things out. And for other drivers, they're just not too worried about it. They may have already made up their mind that, hey, we're going to make 2 pit stops during this final stage, and everyone else is going to try to make one. That's going to be their prerogative, but they're looking for maybe fresher tires and maybe not worrying as much of fuel here throughout this final stage of the day. As Matt Hayden continues to lead the way, Philip Tuscano rolls there in that second spot with Christian Schrader back there in third. Jackson Connell's fallen back into fourth with Rusty Modesty. Clinton Woodby, our top 6, and then you see a little farther back, there's that 4 wide of Jesse Galloway, followed by David Traylor Jr. I think the first driver that's really trying to not only save his tires by an extreme amount, but also maybe trying to save some fuel out there on the speedway. He rolls in that 8th position with Colton Hardy there in 9th. Evan Schilling back rounding out our top 10. Jesse Wise, Kevin Winker, Keith Prince, our top 13. And unfortunately for Joe Yanks, we saw him make that strategy call, staying out, not coming down pit road, and making now that first pit stop of the day for him here. Obviously running into those issues, going 2 laps down in the opening laps. Trying to get that 1 lap back. He's going to give it right back here, though. No quick caution flag to get him back into the action. But this is going to be interesting to see kind of the numbers that he ran right there. So he did come down pit road, technically completing 2 laps there as he got into that wreck in lap number 2. So he ran 2 laps under green there, made a pit stop, and now on lap 47 comes back down pit side. So virtually a 45-lap run, but he did have some caution laps in there to kind of save a little bit of fuel. So does that mean, you can run 43, 44 laps on a green flag run here? If that's the case, if you can only run, that 43, 44 laps under green flag action here this evening, that's going to make this final stage very, very interesting, because I believe when we went back to green flag racing was somewhere around lap number 35. So that's going to be a 90-lap run to the end. That means drivers are probably going to have to save over that run, over that period of time, probably 4 or 5 laps of fuel. So maybe that's kind of what some of these drivers are thinking of right now. When we look back at David Traylor, when you look at, maybe Colton Hardy and a Winker, some of these guys that are falling back here quite a bit more, not only, saving a little tire out there, but also at the same point in time, trying to save a little bit of fuel. If they want to make it on 1 pit stop compared to making 2, then they're trying to save aggressively right now. I think that they can try to get all of it back during this first run, and they can just keep their foot in the throttle and not have to worry about saving fuel in that final run, could really be a huge gain for them here later in this race. So we'll see kind of who's going to be the most aggressive at it right now. Obviously, the most aggressive driver out there is this 5 rider, Matt Hayden, as Hayden has that race lead. Philip Tuscano still right there with him in second. Christian Schrader rolls back there in third as Clinton Woodby's now up and into fourth with Modesty back in fifth. Jackson Connell, we saw him move through the field rather quickly there with those fresh tires in those few laps. As we got underway once again this afternoon, he's now fallen back here about 3 positions and now sits into that 6th spot on the racetrack. Callaway's right there behind him with David Traylor still back there in 8th. Colton Hardy and Schilling rounding up the top 10, but these two out in front, man, they've been setting the pace, and there's a lot of drivers that are with them. Seems like this field is maybe split in half here on whether or not they want to save fuel and tires, and the other half just saying, hey, it is go time. We're going to get it on like Donkey Kong, and they are on the throttle and running some really, really good laps out there compared to the drivers that are saving. So it's going to be interesting. See how this all shapes up and see who's got the winning strat to put themselves up and into victory lane. Is my boy Martin Long. What's good, Martin? Martin in the chat. How are you, mister? Says good afternoon, man. Good afternoon, Martin. How are you, man? How you doing today? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful, wonderful what is it, Friday? Yeah, hopefully you're having a wonderful Friday night, mister, as we get to watch and enjoy some amazing racing action here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. No better place to be on a Friday night than up here in the broadcast booth, being able to bring you guys the action here of the Full Throttle Outlaws Racing Series in the QH Designs 188 is Hayden and Tuscano. 1 and 2 out there, but you got to start looking at position number 3. That Snap-on Reese's Pieces at number 29 of Christian Schrader. Starting to reel in our top 2 here. He's starting to really put his name into the ring here for the race lead. And after virtually, what, I'm going to say 20 laps of green flag racing, for a lot of these drivers, they've already seen about a second and a half or better of tire fall off here. So that is some extreme tire fall off. I'm not going to lie. For a lot of these guys, man, you got to really start to wonder, you know, is it worth it? How much do you got to save? How hard do you push yourself out there on the racetrack? What is the game plan here this evening when we look at some of these other drivers? David Traylor, I think, is starting to reel in some of these guys. Jesse Calloway, Jackson Connell, Clinton Woodby. These guys have been running, you know, a little bit slower than this 54. So even though he saved so much, I think the tires are starting to help him out. And David Traylor Jr. starting to reel these guys in. Same with Kevin Winker. K-Dub back here being a little sneaky cat himself. Rolls there into the 9th position. So K-Dub moving forward. Colton Hardy falling back into 10th. Evan Schilling now outside the top 10 in the 11th spot on the Speedway. Jesse Wise rolls there in position number 12 with Keith Prince back in 13th. Still the first driver 1 lap down. The next driver that is currently, unfortunately, I do believe now, 2 laps down? Yeah, 2 laps down here, at risk of going 3 laps down, is this 87 of Joe Yanks as he rolls there in 14th. Unfortunately, Tristan Kyle rounding at our top 15 after leading the first 36 laps down and out of this race this afternoon as the number 5 rider Matt Hayden consumed that race lead with the mishap and misfortune of that number 23. Gave up the race lead, and for our pole sitter, got back out in front, and now has looked very, very strong here at the front of the field, and looking to lead lap number 60, this time by the start-finish line. So 60 laps down here across the line already this afternoon. This race is flying by, man. These guys are putting on a heck of a show, heck of a battle for us, and 60 laps down. We're almost that halfway marker here, but I do believe, 65 more laps left to go in this race. Potentially clean and green right now. Everyone's kind of spread out a little bit. No one's really battling door to door, so we may not see any caution flags here for a little while or at all here this afternoon. We've seen these guys do that multiple times, especially on these mile-and-a-half racetracks, or we may see a couple early caution flags. After that stage break, though, everyone knows that, hey, you know what, this is going to be potentially the final run of the day, so you got to take it easy. And now we're starting to see a lot of these drivers maybe taking it a little bit more easy than that first stage, and obviously, driving a little bit easier here and not causing some caution flags. So some great racing action here this afternoon. And for Matt Hayden, man, 5 rides looking strong, but so isn't Philip Toscano. So isn't Christian Schrader. If you're that 20 ride, you're feeling A-okay, especially if this stays clean and green, because any of those drivers that are back behind you in the point standings are still behind you out there on the racetrack. Matt Hayden and Christian Schrader are not a part of our points battle, so having them back behind you, and quite a ways back there, you're feeling pretty A-okay right now, because you know that you're locked in points-wise if the race finishes this way, and at the same point in time, you feel like you can maybe win this race yourself. Being right there on the back bumper of our race leader really brings into that question mark if he could potentially win this race. And even if you look back and forth, Rusty Modesty's no longer part of our playoffs either. Then you look back in 5th, Jackson Connell, that is his teammate who's virtually already locked in to our championship race. The next driver that he's got to worry about that could leapfrog him or knock him out of the, his playoff position is the 92 ride of Clinton Woodby. Woodby sits in 7th out there on the racetrack, but he's really the only driver inside the top 9 that could affect potentially his playoff standings here and battling for that championship next Friday night. So he's got to be feeling A-okay. He knows that Evan Schilling's back there in that 10th position. Schilling virtually has to win this race to get in. Same with Colton Hardy. Same with Keith Prince and Joe Yanks here this evening. So I think for Philip, he's feeling pretty A-okay that he's going to get an opportunity to battle for the championship here this season and next Friday night. So the 20 is feeling maybe a little bit more confident out there on the racetrack as we have just completed lap number 65. Now it is 60 laps left to go here for these cats. So 60 laps left to duke it out. And I think this next time by the start-finish line, they will be completing lap 36, which, I mean, this is going to be, what, 31 laps, 30 laps since our restart. So a lot of these drivers now got to start wondering, when do you pull the ticket here? When do you come down pit road? I feel like if some of these guys were going to try to stretch it out, if they want to try to make it on a two-stop cycle, they'd be pitting here any time now. I feel like somewhere around lap number 70 maybe, coming down pit road and making that pit stop and then going another, 30 laps or so, coming back down pit side of lap 100, giving you really fresh tires and a really good car for that final 25 laps of this race. But other drivers that are back there, when you look at David Trailer, Kevin Winker, are they trying to make that two-stop race? Are they trying to roll till somewhere around lap number 80, then come down pit road and making sure that they're good on fuel for a few more laps and then being able to make it to the end without having to make an additional pit stop? I think that may be the game plan here for a bunch of these guys. I think that's going to be a game plan for a lot of these drivers here this evening, and it may play off for them late in this race. And you got to look back at David Trailer, man, he's 10 seconds back here. He battled all throughout that first stage for, a top 3 performance in stage number 1. Quickly fell back into that 8th, 9th spot, and he's kind of been right there, just, slightly slower than everybody in front of him every single lap since that restart. And for a lot of these laps, it has been a lot slower. I'm talking half a second slower than our race leaders, if not even more, almost a full second slower than them, lap after lap after lap here over the last little while. So I think for David, he's more on to the aggressive savings right now. So isn't Clinton Woodby. I think Woodby's really started to back down that pace and really started to save here himself. He's also running, 7/10, almost a second slower. Then the cat's out in front, and we do see a new driver out in front here on lap number 69. It is that 29 ride of Christian Schrader who jumps out in front and takes that race lead and down across the line, completing lap number 70 here this evening. Tristan Kyle will take over the race lead in lead lap number 70 here this evening. So for the Christian Schrader ride, man, he is feeling definitely good here this evening. Schrader out in front. The Reese's ride has looked really, really strong, and now we will see Philip Tuscano also make his way back up into second as Matt Hayden falls all the way into third here. So 70 laps down. This next time by the start finish line, there it is, lap 71, and here we go. Hayden is down pit road. So Matt Hayden looks like he's going to be the first one to make this gamble on the early pit stop here, or maybe trying to split up this final run. We're probably going to see him make 30 laps, maybe 34 laps, and then work his way back down pit road and have fresh tires here for late in this race. But some of these other drivers going to try to stretch it out a little bit farther, but short pitting here for Matt Hayden. And then we did see a little bit of a slide there for a pole sitter, but not too much, where it's going to affect really the outcome of this cycle. He will cycle back out to the race lead, but it's all about when does everyone else come down pit side. How much will he give up on the long run? How much will he gain back on the short run? See where this all shapes up here after another 50-something laps of racing action here this evening. Schrader's going to stay out. Everyone else stays out. He's the only one that's made his way down pit side here over that, 35, 40 lap run right there for Schrader. He's going to keep on pounding the rock, going to keep on rolling. Tuscano's right there with him. A little farther back, you do see Jackson Connell rolling in third. Rusty Monasty's back in fourth with Jesse Calloway now rounding out our top 5. Clinton Woodby sits in 6th with David Trailer right there behind him now in 7th with Kevin Winker, Evan Schilling, Jesse Wise, our top 10 here in this one. Colton Hardy's there in 11th. Hayden, who just came down pit road, he's now scored in position number 12 with Keith Prince, Joe Yakes, and Tristan Kyle rounding out the field. But for Hayden, obviously now you're going to get a great look here at what these fresh tires mean out there on the racetrack and how quickly he's going to be gaining up to these guys and how much ground he's going to make up with, 40 lap better tires than these guys. He's just going to make quick work of them. They're going to stick to the inside. He just jumps out to the outside lane, puts that power down, and you see how quickly he makes those passes on, corner entry to corner exit. He opened up probably about 5 car lengths, 5/10 of a second, maybe even more than half a second right there. So that's quite a run. Fresh tires are going to be everything, I think, here late in this race. And now we do see Christian Strader is now down pit side. Same with Philip Tuscano. Tuscano also heads down pit road here this evening. So as they make their way down pit side, it's going to get a lot more fun real quick here. And I think for Philip, I think he is pointed in. I think he's locked in. Even if a driver behind the cut line were to win the race, if Philip came home 14th in this race, which would be virtually last place now, with Tristan Kyle already down and out of it, I think he would still only give up 13 points to the drivers back behind him, which should still give him enough. Plus, he had that bonus point in the stage. I think he's pointed in. I don't think there's any way that he gets knocked out of the playoffs here this evening. As we do see Rusty Modesty now going to work his way down pit road, so we're starting to see them trickle in. They're starting to make their way down pit side. Here comes Jackson Connell. He'll now hit pit road. And Jesse Calloway also down pit side. Looks like David Traylor Jr. These are some of the guys that we saw really saving fuel, really being a little bit more aggressive there with that fuel strategy. They're going to run a little bit longer here. So David Traylor Jr., Clinton Woodby, they're going to stay out. So is an Evan Schilling, Jesse Wise, Colton Hardy. So a few more of these drivers trying to stretch out this fuel, knowing that they can probably make it to that, midway point, probably make it to an area that they're going to be good on fuel here to make it to the end of this race on their next pit stop where, Matt Hayden, even Jackson Connell, Jesse Calloway, either they're going to have to save a ton of fuel or they're going to have to make another pit stop here later in this race. Pitting right now, even on lap number 77 for Jackson Connell and Jesse Calloway. So that's a 45, 48 lap run. I don't see they can save that much. I don't think they can make 48 laps of green flag racing here. So I think they're going to have to at least make another pit stop here this evening. Jesse Wise now headed down pit side here on lap 78. That's going to be a little bit better, but as David Traylor Jr. continues to stay out there, obviously they're starting to see some of these fresh tires slipping and sliding around them, trying to work their way through them as David out in front has this race lead. And now for the 54 ride, how long can he go? Same with Clinton Woodby, Evan Schilling. We do see Kevin Winker. Winker's made his way down pit side, that Muleburger Custom Homes number 42. So here on lap number 79, Winker heads down pit road. He's going to have to make 46 laps to get to the end of this race if it stays clean and green, or he'll be making a pit stop as well. I think 46, that may be pushing it right there. Unless if you can save a ton, I'm not sure if you make it 46 laps here this evening. Now we do see Keith Prince also down pit side, so he's going to make his pit stop. Unfortunately for Prince, even getting that lap back, still hasn't had any caution flags to try to get himself back on the lead lap. So going 2 laps down early in this race is kind of taking the 3 ride out of contention here this evening and out of, potentially battling for the race win and his championship dream here this evening. So I do believe for Prince, unless we get some late race caution flags, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to battle for the race win here this evening. But now here we go. Lap 81, we do see Clinton Woodby and Evan Schilling come down pit side. So this is going to be 44 laps that they're going to have to run here in this final stage. 44 laps of green flag running. That becomes a little bit more in frame. That's a little bit more feasible, I think, here, as they just ran, I want to say 45 laps, 46 laps under green flag conditions there. So I feel like they went a little bit farther, probably feeling a little bit more A-OK on their fuel strategy to be able to make this on this only pit stop here during this final stage of the day. And obviously David Traylor, he's going even farther here. David, one of the best in the business at saving fuel out there on the racetrack. And obviously he's saving a ton here, knowing that he wants to make sure he is good to go, that he is absolutely A-OK here on fuel. Goes a couple laps farther, and it looks like he is going to be able to make his way down pit side. He's just got to make sure he doesn't speed down pit road. Looks like he was able to get checked up in time. And for that number 54, David Traylor Jr., it's on lap number 83. So he's going to have 43 laps to make it to the end of this race. So isn't Colton Hardy, as he's now down pit side as well. So that's going to give David Traylor Jr. and Colton Hardy the best chance at potentially winning this race when it comes to that fuel strategy. When we look at a driver like Matt Hayden, who was down pit road now already 12 laps ago, he's now out in front. He's got that race lead, but he doesn't really have much of a gap here. Only about 0.4 of a second between himself and Christian Strader. Philip Tuscano is right there with them, but for Matt Hayden, he's been running quite a bit off the pace here. Already 0.7 of a second slower than the two drivers in the rest of the field back behind him. So I think for Matt Hayden, he's either really trying to save fuel right now, or for the 5 ride, he's trying to save enough tire that he can kind of balance out the game plan and kind of hang with Strader and Tuscano for a little bit, but I don't know if he's going to have much here. I think they're going to be able to make quick work of him, and unfortunately, it looks like they're going to already take that race lead back away from him. Christian Strader now out in front for Matt Hayden. It's a whole different ball game for him now. We saw him running great laps, being really fast there in that first stage. Now this second stage, I don't think he can even save enough fuel. I think he's, without a question, going to have to make an additional pit stop here this evening. Now it's all going to be about when does he make that pit stop to have it work into his favor, to work into his strategy that, you know, maybe he can battle his way back up and get a good solid finish, or maybe even still find victory lane late in this race. But it's going to get tight, chat. It's going to get real tight. Fuel is going to be a big issue. Tires are going to be a big issue. And for a lot of these drivers, you know, the final laps of this race are going to be a nail-biter here this evening, as I do believe we are down. Now what? We're at the complete lap number 87 here this evening. So what is that? 38 laps of racing action left to go. So 38 laps left to duke it out here tonight for each and every one of these drivers. You know, a lot can happen in 38 laps. A lot of things can go right. A lot of things can go wrong. As we look back here, we do see Jesse Calloway currently sitting in that free pass position. So Calloway is in the lucky dog spot for Colton Hardy. He's back here in position number 12. And for Hardy, he stayed out quite a bit longer. He's probably good on fuel, but the big question will be, as he currently sits 42 seconds behind Christian Strader, even if Strader, Tuscano, Matt Hayden, if they have to come back down pit road here during this final run of the day, will he stay in front of them? Will he still be on, you know, in front of these guys to where this strategy even makes sense for that number 97 rider, Colton Hardy? Not sure if there was a pit road mistake out of his 97 stable, but this is definitely going to set him quite a bit back. Same with even Jesse Calloway being a lap down. Obviously, you want to save fuel, you want to save tire, but you don't want to lose this much time in track position because you may not ever get it back out there on the speedway. So for Christian Strader, he's feeling A-okay. He's got his foot in the throttle. He is not backing down one little bit, as he has already opened up about 0.8 of a second between himself and Philip Tuscano. But you look 2 seconds back, you see this number 5 ride of Matt Hayden. Hayden rolls now into position number 3. Jackson Connell back there in 4th. Rusty Modesty rolls in 5th. Jesse Calloway, Kevin Winker are top 7. Clinton Woodby's back in 8th. And David Traylor Jr. now rolls in position number 9 with Evan Schilling. Jesse Wise, Colton Hardy are top 12 out there on the racetrack. And now we saw this number 54 go quite a bit farther than everybody else. So he has lost quite a bit of time here to Clinton Woodby and Kevin Winker, drivers that he was right there with as these, you know, green flag stops got started, and now he sits back in 9th. He's quite a ways back behind them. See if he can try to gain that back, see if he can work his way back into the battle here, and if that strategy plays into his favor out there on the speedway. So Christian Strader, though, out in front, continue to feel A-okay with Philip Tuscano a little bit farther back there, as they got a bit of a gap and no pressure to their back bumpers as of right now. Matt Hayden rolls there in 3rd with Jackson Connell back in 4th. Looking to have himself a pretty solid day at the Speedway, as there's Rusty Modesty working his way back inside the top 5 as he's worked his way around Jesse Calloway. Calloway falls back into 6th, but here he comes right back into the battle now, shooting to the inside of that number 6 ride, and they're going to be door to door down and off of corner number 4. And for that 4 machine, Jesse Calloway back up into position number 5 on the speedway. So back into the top 5 there for Calloway. Modesty falls once again back into 6th here in that 6th machine. And about 4 seconds behind them, you do see Kevin Winker. Second behind him is that 92 of Clinton Wood, being about 2.5, 3 seconds back. You do see David Traylor Jr. Evan Schilling, last driver on the lead lap, rolls there in that 10th spot. Now he is about 27, almost 28 seconds behind our race leader, which is almost an entire racetrack. But right now, he's still a few seconds ahead of them, trying to stay on the lead lap himself this afternoon. As Eric Hardy says, head down one at a time, buddy. You got this. Cheered on that 97 of Colton Hardy here this afternoon. Eric, how are you, mister? How you doing this afternoon? Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful Friday, and hopefully everyone is enjoying their Friday night here with the Full Throttle Outlaws. If you guys are just tuning in and you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor, hit that subscribe button and hit that like on the stream for us. Every like, every comment, and every new subscriber helps the channel grow a ton and helps push the stream out to more and more amazing viewers. So make sure you guys do those 3 easy steps. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a comment. Let us know who you're cheering for and who you want to see up in victory lane. As Strader continues to lead the way, he's opened up that race lead to about 1.1 seconds between himself and Philip Toscano. As they complete lap number 95, they have 30 laps of racing action left to go here this evening. 30 more laps to duke it out and to figure out who will park their way up and into victory lane here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. As we're going to jump into a quick Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Crank up that volume and cheer these drivers on. As Eric says, yes, sir. Love it, brother. We love it, Eric. We love it, mister. We absolutely love it. As here we go into our Crank It Up. Alrighty, a beautiful crank it up session out there on the Speedway. And for right now, our race leader is that number 20 machine, Philip Tuscano. Tuscano out in front, has the race lead. He continues to hold down that top spot. We'll have to wait and see if he can keep himself up here to finish off this feature event. But as of right now, he's got Matt Hayden, who's trying to hunt him down. Hayden is 5 seconds back behind him here, though. Hayden is back here in second. He does have Jackson Connell right there as well. So for Matt Hayden, Jackson Connell being 5 seconds, almost 6 seconds back of our race leader, Philip Tuscano here. Now the big question is going to be, is fuel. How have these drivers been able to make it? How long can they go? We already saw the number 29 of Christian Strader come back down pit road here. Jesse Whitehead is now also down pit side here himself. So for a lot of these drivers, I think they're realizing, they're seeing that, hey, I can't make it on fuel. I got to stop now and try to use fresher tires to my advantage. And that's going to be really, really interesting to see how this all plays out and how it all shakes up, because it may work perfectly for drivers like David Traylor Jr., maybe Clinton would be. What about that 18 rider, Evan Schilling? Some drivers that potentially need that win to make their way in to that championship race next Friday night. Here they are, potentially in line to, win a fuel strategy game plan here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But right now, it is Philip Tuscano who's got that race lead. But as he heads down and out of corner number 4, back down across the line, he'll click off another lap, and it is only 14 laps left to go here. Maybe our calculations are off. Maybe these guys can go a little bit longer. But just the way it seemed throughout that first run for the 87 of Joe Yanks, throughout that second run for all these drivers, it really seemed like they were struggling to get anywhere past, 44, 45 laps, even with some of those drivers that were aggressively saving compared to Phil Tuscano, compared to Matt Hayden. They were saving a lot more fuel, being able to pit a lot later, and it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be really, really tight here. I think for a lot of these guys, they're going to be short. Now, here we go. We do see Matt Hayden works his way down pit road. Now, he was the first tanker for green flag pit stops on that first wave of stops this afternoon. He came down pit road on lap number 71. So about 5 laps sooner than a bunch of these other drivers, which, if it is staying that way, 5 laps from now, that's going to be still about 8 laps shy of fuel here, I think, for Philip Tuscano. Philip Tuscano probably about 8 laps shy, maybe a little bit more. We'll have to wait and see when he finally heads down pit road, and where that may put drivers that have been saving a little bit more, drivers that have, pushed that subject when it comes to the fuel economy early on in this race. When you look at David Traylor Jr., Kevin Winker, Clinton Woodby, they're 3 drivers that could potentially be in line for a big run here this afternoon if things work into their favor. But if fuel gets tight for them as well, will they be able to make it? What is the picture going to look like? And even though they may be saving, they got a lot older tires, and with those older tires, they are falling back in a quick hurry. Here comes Christian Strader, who was up there, had the race lead, gave it up, came down pit side back on lap 103, and over the last 11 laps or so has gained a ton of time, and now sits only 7.5 seconds behind David Traylor. So even if Philip Tuscano, Jackson Connell, and everyone in front of this 54 line has to come down pit road and pit here this afternoon, as I say that, here does come Philip Tuscano. Philip is going to come down pit road here on lap number 115. It may still be for nothing, because Christian Strader, with the fresh tires, maybe he'll just catch them and work his way around them with ease here late in this race. He's got 10 more laps to try to figure out a way to gain 7 seconds here on David Traylor Jr., on Kevin Winker, and about 8 seconds or so on Clinton Woodby. That's if they can make it on fuel. Now, we do see Jackson Connell will consume that race lead as Philip Tuscano has to come down pit road. And I think this is where the big picture is going to be for a driver like Christian Strader. Making that much earlier pit stop back on lap 103 is going to work out for him, because he's going to be able to use those French tires for a lot longer than what Philip Tuscano is going to be able to use them for. He's just rolling back out here. He's just getting rolling, and he's going to have only 9 laps, 8 laps to try to get these tires to work into his favor out there on the speedway. That may not be enough time for him to even gain on Christian Schrader. He's got 14 seconds and he's behind the 29 ride. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to catch that 29 machine. But for the 39 ride of Jackson Connell, he's going to stay out there. He's going to make things very, very interesting here. There's Matt Hayden as well. Hayden was down pit side on lap 112. So he came down pit road a couple laps prior to Philip Toscano, and Philip's still in front of him here as well. So big pit stop there for Philip because he's able to get down pit road and back out onto the racetrack and stay in front of Matt Hayden. He had that 5-6 second gap and he used it all to his advantage to still keep that 5 ride about 2 seconds behind him here. So that's a great break for them. For Jackson Connell, he continues to lead the way here with only 7 laps left to go. Man, this is going to get interesting. The gap between David Traylor, Kevin Winker, obviously tight one, but Christian Schrader now only 5 seconds back behind these guys. So he's gained about 2 seconds over the last 2-3 laps, so he is drawing into them in a quick hurry here. He's been running, 3/10, no, way more than that, almost a full second quicker than both Winker and David Traylor here, 0.7 of a second. Now we see issues for David Traylor Jr. Oh no! Oh no, it looks like heavy contact and damage here for the 54. Oh, looks like he starts blinking there a little bit. I think just started getting into some connection issues, and right here, I think his wheel disconnected. Look at that left front. It's completely turned the wrong direction here on that 54 ride. Right here, if you take a look at that right front, you're going to see it kind of snap in right there. Boom. Just snaps hard to the left, all the way to the left. I think his wheel disconnected and unfortunately kind of disconnected. Even though the car is going left, he's still in the throttle, and it just pushes him up the racetrack. Ends up making hard contact right there to the outside fence as he gets the wheel reconnected here. Unfortunately, it's already too late as he's found that outside fence. He now has heavy damage, is coming down pit road, and that may have taken him out of the running here for this win. And for Jackson Connell, man, I don't know how he's made it this far on fuel, but he's stretching it as far as he possibly can. 39 ride. He's out in front. He's got the race lead. Only 4 laps left to go here in this feature event. Now Clinton Woodby is reeling him in. Jackson Connell is saving a ton. Clinton is reeling him in. So is in Kevin Winker, but here comes Christian Schrader not too far back behind them. Evan Schilling rolls in 5th with Philip Toscano back in 6th. Matt Hayden's there in 7th. Colton Hardy's up into 8th with Rusty Modesty. Jesse Calloway are top 10. Keith Prince, Jesse Wise, and now David Traylor Jr. back in 13th. Joe Yakes, Tristan Kyle round out our field here with only 3 laps left to go, but that gap is shrinking. The 92 of Clinton Woodby, he may be good on fuel, so here he comes. He doesn't have to save any longer. If he doesn't, then it is his to win. He's got a big gap between himself and Kevin Winker, about 3 seconds, and he's going to make quick work of that 39. Jackson Connell, he's kind of made his bet here on making it to the end with 2 laps left to go. He's not going to come down pit road unless he runs out of fuel. I think the same being said for Rusty Modesty as he's backed the pace way down as well. And for Clinton Woodby, takes the late race lead. And for a driver that got tied up early on in some issues, here he is out in front. Connell still trying to hang on to second, though, as here comes Kevin Winker. Winker is reeling into him. Christian Schrader not too far back there as well. Can Connell play his cards right? End up with a solid top 2. No, looks like he's going to be out of fuel. He's got a pit here. 1 lap left to go. The white flag is displayed to 39. Heads down pit side, giving the race lead to Clinton Woodby. Woodby now out in front with Kevin Winker in position number 2. But for the 92, can he make it the rest of the way? Will he run out of fuel? Will he be fine? He's got 2 laps better fuel than Kevin Winker, so I think for Clinton Woodby, he is A-OK. And for the final time, down through 3 and out of 4, it is the QH Designs winning bid 92 of Clinton Woodby, who will win here at Charlotte, and he will punch his ticket in to our Championship 5 next Friday night. Clinton Woodby picks up the win and will pull himself into the Charlotte Motor Speedway victory lane this afternoon in the QH Designs 188. Kevin Winker, heck of a run for Winker Nation, man. Winker Nation coming home in position number 2. KW, that Muleburger Custom Home Sonographic Designs Chevy Camaro comes home in P2 with Christian Schrader rounding out our top 3 here this evening. But getting ready to celebrate here on the front stretch is that 92 rider Clinton Woodby. Woodby getting ready to burn down the house here in this one, man, after a heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening. Alrighty, guys, Woodby burns down the house here. He had enough fuel to make it another lap and give us a burnout. So he was good. His number was perfect, and he was able to get this one into the bank here. Obviously, Winkers was right on point as well, pitting back on lap number 79. So for Winker and Woodby, their strategy plays out pretty nicely here for a 1-2 finish. Winker had finished just only 0.8 of a second in front of Christian Schrader. So Schrader, obviously, that 2 pit stop cycle in the final run almost worked out for him. He was about 4.3 seconds back behind our race leader, Clinton Woodby. So if Woodby had to save any more, if he fell back any farther, it would have gave the advantage to that 29 ride potentially here this evening. But Woodby, man, just absolutely perfect. Will pull himself up and into the winner's circle and up and into the broadcast booth here for some post-race interviews. We'll get ready to pull him up here into the booth right now. Let's see if we can get him up here real quickly, chat. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for our race winner, Clinton Woodby. Hey, Clinton, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Take a copy.
Yeah, I got you, bud.
Clinton, man, what a run, what a race here this evening. Obviously, early on, some issues there on lap number 2. You get tied up into it. You're just on the outside trying to keep yourself out of trouble, and it found you in a quick hurry. And it looked like things were getting off to a bit of a bleak start here. And all of a sudden, you just kind of rode the ship here. Obviously, trying to play it a little bit smart, saving fuel throughout that first run after the stage. And all of a sudden, you know, it opened up the door for, you know, drivers like yourself, Winker, that 54, David Trailer, before he ran into his issues, to potentially jump up here and steal this win away. And that's exactly how it plays out, as you're able to find yourself up here in the Charlotte Motor Speedway victory lane, man. Take us back through, obviously, the early contact and issues, and then through that final run to find yourself up here in the winner's circle.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened there coming to the second lap. Somebody being way too aggressive for no reason. I got a 3-wide call at the last minute, and I seen Joe to my left, and I tried to go to the right a little, and it looked like he got knocked into me, so I don't really know what happened there. But after that, it was just kind of ride around for a little bit, and then I noticed I could kind of drive into the corners a little bit better than other people. I don't know if the leaders had ran a little harder and burnt their tires more or what, but I don't know, about 15 to go before the stage, I just started pushing to try to get as many points as possible because I knew it was tight, and ended up 5th, I think, for the stage. So after that, it was just, I thought we were going to be good and just, you know, come in and pit and then pit again, but David started saving, and once David starts saving, you have to kind of pay attention to him. And I waited to save that second to last run, probably 20 laps into it. I thought I waited too long, but I had a lap and a half of fuel when I came to the line, so I guess I waited almost too late, but just the right amount of time.
Yeah, absolutely the perfect amount of time here this evening, as you were able to still give us a show, a good burnout there on the front straightaway. And, you know, Winker, he pitted back there on lap number 79. But, you know, the first driver that was kind of on that game plan of running, you know, 2 pit stops during that final stage here this evening was Christian Schrader, and it almost worked out for him as he had battled his way all the way back up into that 3rd position, and he was right there on the tail of Winker, and I mean, if you guys had to save any more through this final stage or anything else, it may have went his way. But unfortunately for Strader, just not enough time for him to, catch back up to you guys and to battle here for the race win still this afternoon. As the fuel strategy came to be the game plan to win this race over the tires here this evening, I'm just quite surprised we didn't see more drivers kind of either running that same strategy or trying to, be a little bit more aggressive with that final pit stop.
Yeah, after the stage, the numbers were close, and I think everybody thought, kind of like me, if we just ran hard, everybody's going to be like 10 laps short, so we're going to have to make 2 pit stops and, maybe split the end. But David started telling me how he was getting closer and closer and closer to making it, and then he's got like 4 laps more fuel than me, and I'm getting close. So that's when I decided to just back it down myself. And I don't really know how I came out ahead of him. I must have had just a little bit better pit stop because he was kind of running the same times as me, if not a little quicker, right before I pit at the end. So whenever I passed him coming out of the pits, he said, "Good win," and I was like, well, it's still early, but I thought for sure he would catch me. And then he just started telling me how he burnt the tires off, and then I think his wheel locked up or something again, so had some bad luck there, but was able to pull it off.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it looked like his wheel disconnected or locked up, something. We saw him down through 3, basically right on entry. The wheel just snap hooked to the left and carrying all that speed went right up into the outside fence. And didn't take him long to get the wheel back connected, and by that time the damage was already done. Had to make a pit stop to get the damage repaired, and unfortunately took himself out of potentially, having a top 3 run here this evening. I'm not sure if he would have been able to hold on to it if he was saving anything. Maybe he would have been able to try to reel you in or work himself back around Winker, but if not, I mean, Strader was right there as well, so could have all of a sudden lost 3rd position anyways with that strategy. But here tonight, man, it all works out perfectly for you. We love these fuel strategy races. I know Winker does as well. I'm sure he's shaking his head right now because he knows, man, one finally kind of went his way and finally, didn't see those late race caution flags, or he was able to get his calculations perfect and still ends up just 1 spot shy as you pulled up into victory lane ahead of him. And unfortunately for Winker, he's going to be the bridesmaid here tonight. I'm sure he'll be happy with a solid run, but I'm sure for yourself, even happier with this win because, points aside, I think you would have pointed your way in with a top 5 run here with not having Ramirez out there on the racetrack. But I think, honestly, now with the race win, locking your way into that championship 5 next Friday night.
Yeah, it's always good to lock in advance on a win, so always gives you a little bit more momentum. And I think we got Homesteads we're finishing off. I haven't really got much time with these cars there. I've been in the trucks more here lately, but we'll go on to next week and see what we can do. I'd say it's going to be a pretty tough competition. I mean, it's been 1 or 2 or 3 guys all year long, but we've got 5 or 6 guys that are capable of winning any week. So we'll go on to next week and see what happens. And shout out to my girlfriend Megan and Blair Peterson, the Winning Bid Diecast, and all you guys for the broadcast and putting on the league and everything. And everybody stay safe from the storm that's coming through or not coming through. So just, I guess, keep your eye on the weather.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what storm you're talking about, but here in Canada, we got about 3.5 feet on the ground right now, so.
Just another Friday.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing. It's nothing up here. But, yeah, I heard potentially snow in, like, Florida, or there was snow in Florida, and then I heard that Texas maybe was getting some snow again.
Yeah, ours has changed from snow to rain, so I guess I'll wake up in the morning and see what it's doing. I'm usually my own weatherman. I'll just wake up and look outside and say, well, it's cold or it's hot or it looks like it's going to rain or it doesn't.
Yep, that's exactly what I do as well. If you want to know what the temperature is, just walk outside for a couple seconds and you either go back in to take clothes off or go back in to put more clothes on, one or the other. But heck of a run here tonight, man. Heck of a run. Hopefully you guys got some snow shovels if you do get that snow, or hopefully you got your umbrella ready for tomorrow. But man, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening, and hopefully you're ready to do a little celebrating tonight here at Charlotte as you're able to find yourself up and in victory lane. Clinton, congrats on the win, and we can't wait to see you out there battling and competing at Homestead for our championship here on the season.
Yeah, we'll do what we can to bring home the championship next week.
Beauty, we look forward to it, Clinton, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Yep, you too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there to our race winner, Clinton Woodby. Woodby with a heck of a run, heck of a drive there into that 92 machine as we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher, that number 42 of Kevin Winker. Hey, Kev, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Winker, man, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening, brother. Take us back through what's going through your mind right now as one of these fuel strategy races, and this one works kind of out pretty nicely for you here this afternoon.
Yeah, I've been getting pretty lucky on those last couple weeks. I finished 4th last week at Gateway, and then I 2nd at Auto Club a couple weeks ago. So they're starting to finally turn around, my way. I haven't really been around, running Friday nights much. So my plan was tonight was just kind of go out there, kind of throw some strategy out there because I wasn't really racing anything besides the win. So just kind of riding the back there, and I didn't worry about stage points and stuff. And then I ran a fuel run in practice and kind of figured out my numbers there, and just the way the stage fell and then the caution laps after that, it worked out perfectly. I actually ran out at the line, so I timed it right, right to the 10th of a gallon. So, but yeah, I think I pitted a lap too early before Clinton because I had like a lap and a half left before I pitted there, and so I had to save a little bit on that last run versus he didn't, and I think that was maybe the difference. I know he had a pretty fast car tonight, so I'm not sure even if I had enough, if I could have held them off. But I'm happy, with the P2. So obviously there's a lot of fast guys in this league, and it's always nice to kind of win it on field mileage. You could be the fastest guy, but if somebody can outsmart you, then that's always better.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always, one of those risky game plans. And obviously, we saw the other side of that strategy, making only that one pit stop in the final stage. The drivers making the 2 pit stops. We saw Christian Schrader come down pit road again on lap 103, and he was reeling into you guys, man, and he was only 0.8 of a second back there behind you. So, it's a good thing that you still have that little bit, because if you needed to go any farther or any harder, if you had to start saving, he was going to be right there working his way around you.
Yeah, I'm not sure what lap he pitted there, but if he would have pitted maybe 2 laps later, he could have caught me or whatever. It's kind of those what ifs, you don't really know, but looking back on it. But yeah, that was just kind of my game plan. And then, obviously, even if I, made it there, if later his caution came out, me and Clinton had a set of tires. So I think either way, I was kind of in the catbird seat with Clinton. If we had a caution, we could have got tires, and nobody else would have tires either way. So either way, I was sitting, kind of pretty good. But yeah, overall, it was a good race. I know that the car comes kind of down in this league, but that's expected. Towards the end of the season with only the playoff guys really showing up and all that. But nice win for Clinton. I think that locks him into the next round. I know he was tight on points coming tonight, so happy that he got that win and locked himself in the next week.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be able to go for a championship, and obviously for you, hopefully show up again next week as well, because Homestead, 120 laps. I feel like it's going to be another one of those, fuel strategy game plans for you, and maybe another podium finish, or maybe victory again for the 42 machine.
Yeah, we can hope. I really don't like Homestead, honestly. I'm pretty bad there, so if I do show up, I'm definitely going to do some off strategy. Obviously I got nothing to lose there, so that's definitely not one of my favorite tracks. I don't really like it. I just never can seem to get the car to run good there. Compared to some other guys. So I definitely got to put in some work there and stuff. But yeah, like I said, I'm just happy that this fuel mileage races and straight races have been kind of going my way lately. I know for the longest time they weren't, but I think this is the 3rd race here in the last couple weeks that's gone my way for the most part. It hasn't been race winning moves, but it's definitely I got a finish that I probably shouldn't deserve just based off strategy versus speed. So But yeah, sometimes that's what you got to do, especially with faster guys. You got to think outside the box and just hope that your plan works. Because if you just follow the leader, you ain't gonna pass them. So you gotta try something new. So but yeah, well, if I show up next week, we'll come out there and see what we can do with some crazy strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. We can't wait to see how it all plays out for you, man. But here tonight played out pretty nicely in a solid second place run for that 42 K-Dub. Who would you like to thank here this evening for another great run, great drive, and a great performance coming home in second?
Yeah, as always, want to shout out to Bruce Muhlberger, Mover Custom Homes, come on board and sponsor me in all my leagues. He's a huge supporter of mine. I kind of dropped the ball tonight. I forgot to send out the link to everybody, so I don't know if anybody was watching or if he was, but if he's not, I'll give him a shout anyways. So shout out to you, Bruce. All Winker Nation, all them guys and girls that come out every night. Like I said, I don't know if any came out tonight because I forgot to send out the link. So they could have the off night, I guess, for once, or maybe it's good luck that I finish on the podium if nobody watches. So I don't know, but yeah, shout out to those guys and girls that come out every night and support me. Can't thank enough. Nate Cogdo, Sonic Graphic Design for the paint. If you need any paint stickers, designs, any of that stuff, check them out on Facebook at Sonic Graphic Design. All the league admins that put this on, Colton, David, all them guys that put a lot of hard work. I know it's a lot of work to run leagues, and they run multiple with Monday nights, so it's a lot of dedication on their end to keep things running smoothly. So props to them. All the league sponsors, QH Design. I don't know. I'm missing somebody, but QH Design I know was the main one, so shout out to them. And then last but not least, you, Aaron, for the broadcast, man. I love going back and watching it, and you put on a hell of a show, so keep up the good work. And I have a question. How cold is it up there by you right now?
Right now, I think it is minus 14 Celsius. I don't know what that would be in Fahrenheit, but it is minus 14 Celsius. That is the real feel. The wind chill, I do believe, is minus 24 Celsius.
All right, you got us beat. We were minus 15 here this morning Fahrenheit, but you got us beat. It's been cold, man. The last 2 days, and I know there's that big snowstorm. So going down south, so everybody can stay safe, And I haven't gone outside today. I ain't about to go outside either. It's too cold for that. So yeah, just everybody stay safe, and then we will catch you probably Monday, or otherwise Tuesday or Friday. So we'll see you then next week.
Absolutely, brother. We look forward to it. Kev, enjoy the solid run here tonight, and hopefully many more great finishes here for you. Obviously, next week here in this series, but throughout all those other races, and hopefully we'll get you back here into the booth as soon as possible.
Sounds good. Thank you, man. Stay safe there.
Absolutely, you as well.
Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Mr. Kevin Winker. K-Dub comes home here in position number 2 here this evening. Now, for our third place finisher, Christian Strader. Strader right now is not in the Discord. Let me go through the names that are still in here. No, Strader is not in the Discord right now, so we don't have third place finisher here, chat. Unfortunately, we don't have third place to do our third place interview, so it looks like that is going to be it for the night. So shout out there to Christian Strader. Good solid third place run there, 29. Right, man, it always worked out into his favor. If Woodby or Winker were a little bit shorter on fuel, obviously maybe they would have had to have could have gave him back the race lead, or if he had maybe just a little bit earlier of a pit stop. If instead of coming down pit road a lap 103, maybe if he pitted on lap 101, giving himself those 2 laps, or maybe lap 100, the 3 laps, maybe that would have been enough time that he would have been able to reel in Clinton Woodby and Kevin Winker to work his way back to the point. But unfortunately, just did not quite work out into his favor, but still a very solid top 3 run there for the 29 Ryan. But here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, unfortunately, that is going to do it for us here this evening, man. Some great racing, some great action here. These guys put on a heck of a show for us, right from the drop the green flag down to the checkered flag here this evening. We can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and showing the love here this evening in the QH Designs 188 in the Full Throttle Racing League. As the Full Throttle Outlaws here this evening is going to come to a close. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit that follow and subscribe button, and we'll see you guys back in here tomorrow night for some more racing action as our Saturday Night League kicks back off and get some crazy Daytona racing as our Daytona duels are going to be tomorrow night. So make sure you guys tune into that one and watch some great racing action here tomorrow. But thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for watching. See y'all later, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Engine scream, asphalt burns, the grips a gamble. Tires squeal, hearts race. This leads to scandal. Full throttle, no brakes, chasing that checkered. Drafted lines tighter than a bank teller's ledger. Turn 4 is a monster, jaws wide like a gator. Pit stop, quick cruise, move sharp as a razor. Adrenaline pumps, veins fuel injected. Outlaws on the track, chaos perfected. Full throttle kings, we don't slow down. Ripping through the night, owning this town. Cast to the floor, the crowd gets loud. Outlaws racing, we're born unbound. Smoke trails, girl, exhaust whisper secrets. Victory's a beast, only the brave can keep it. Paint jobs flash, sponsors on the side. Egos collide, stealing pride. Oval dreams where legends ignite. Green flag drops, sparks kiss the night. This ain't a hobby, this a gladiator's grind. Racing's the religion, speed's the shrine. Bump traps, slingshot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Bump traps, slingshot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Smoke trails curl, exhaust whisper secrets. Victory's a beast, only the brave can keep it. Paint jobs flash, sponsors on the side. Egos collide, stealing pride. Oval dreams where legends ignite. Green flag drops, sparks kiss the night. This ain't a hobby, this a gladiator's grind. Racing's the religion, speed's the shrine. Bump trap, slingshot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights. Bump trap, slingshot, rival in my sights. One wrong move, you're kissing the lights.